you've been here for a few days, you probably noticed that. Like on the weekend, it was a little bit warmer, I think, on Friday, Saturday. It's cool again last night. Anyone know what this one is? Little jacana? Yes. Or Jesus Christ bird, they call it sometimes, because it walks on water. It's got very long toes there, and when it walks on the lily pads, it looks like it's walking on water. And it's a very delicate and beautiful little bird. And when it has its little eggs, it lays them on the lily pad, and then when they hatch, the little ones will run after the parents, and then they can pick them up when there's trouble around and tuck them under their wings. So all these little babies kind of hang out with their little long legs, long toes, and waddle along the lily pads. I can't remember what time of year that is though, but a bit later on in build-up time. Now we've got like the start of the wet season. It's called the build-up. And if anybody wants to come visit in the build-up, it's a pretty exciting time, but it's very, very hot. And you might hear it being called the silly season, or people say even mango madness. It's when the mangoes start to come out and everyone gets a bit hot and bothered. But the local people in that Gunjapi language, it's called Gunamalang. And Gunamalang starts October, November. It's when all of a sudden the humidity starts to increase rapidly. The country's very dried up. There's like this big heat shimmer across all the floodplains. It's like the air isn't as crisp and clear anymore because of the humidity. Like these clear dry season days go, it's just this kind of stickiness in the air. But it's a very exciting time as well. It's like a big change happens, and even though we start to sweat a lot and get a bit irritable, the country kind of comes alive in another way because all the insects start to come out. And the insects attract different animals like this crewneck lizard. Has anybody seen one of them in the park? No. You don't see them in the dry season. They start to come out in the build-up and come out for the wet season. So as the insects start to come out, all the termites send out their little reproductive termites on wings, and the air's full of flying insects. And you'll see these crewneck lizards sitting on the side of the road or coming down from the trees and eating all the insects. And that tree has got a vine creeper coming up. And as soon as the humidity gets really high, a lot of things start to shoot new leaves and go green. Not quite raining yet though, you get very annoyed by those teething storms. It's called Gudjalp. It actually kind of means rain. And this is when the proper monsoon comes down from the kind of Southeast Asia area, and the monsoon brings with it a whole lot of rain that can almost, fill up areas in an amazing amount of time. I've got no figures. But it rains like buckets, and it can rain sometimes for days and days. I remember one time it rained for a whole 10 days in a row, it was a few years ago. It was really great, but everything was really humid in the house. So as soon as you took your boots off, the next day they were mouldy. And you try and fold a newspaper over and just roll over like it was never dry. And your clothes never felt dry. It's quite an amazing time. But it's really fun as well, like everything gets really green. All that spear grass that now has been burnt grows up to 3 metres tall. So when you drive in from Darwin to Jabiru, the whole woodland is just a green sea of spear grass, all up really tall. Very different place. Ready? And here's a great shot again now that the monsoon's come through from the top of Ulbia. All that green grass and stuff that you've been looking at today, or if you haven't been there yet, you'll have a look tomorrow. And this is a big proper wet season. It doesn't always do that for very long, but that's all that floodplain covered with water. And you have to slow down to this paperbark forest. That's underwater every year, sometimes 2 metres underwater, and sometimes for 2 months. So one tour a day does have a boat on the other side, car on the other side, boat across the water, car on the other side, 4-wheel drive usually because you've got to go through water along the road as well at the floodways, and then you can come up to Ulbia, which is a pretty exciting thing to do if you ever come back in the wet season. Try and come out here and get on that tour. The crossing down here, trying to come back from Arnhem Land into Kakadu, didn't make it that time. Or still a little smirk, I suppose. And that's a great shot there of Jim in, you know, big rain. You don't really get to see it like this unless you're in a helicopter or an aeroplane in the wet season. Probably because the road's flooded, you can't get in there. This is just showing a little baby one and the importance of how big they can get and being careful around waterways anywhere in the top end. For local people, they've lived with crocodiles for a long time. So that concludes our little slideshow tonight.